Ramey Martin-Galiatovich. I'm with the Center for Positive Leadership. I know probably pretty much everybody in this room today, which is great. There's a couple new faces, so welcome. Thank you for coming today. We're going to learn about personal branding. Ikigai tool is what we're going to look at today. And Henrietta Pepper is going to demonstrate the tool for us. And I'm going to introduce her in just a second, but I just want to introduce our Dean of the College of Business, Dr. Jeff Wan. So welcome, Jeff. Thank you for stopping by. And we have several other important people here today, too. One board member, Adrienne Johnson. Thank you for coming, Adrienne. And many of our affiliated professionals here. Hi, Ann. She just walked in the door. We've got Patty and Olivia and Karen. They all serve on our... Oh, and Michelle. Sorry. Also a board member and an affiliated professional of the center. So, welcome. Okay, so normally Ryan Quinn, who's our academic director, does the introductions, and I realized 5 minutes ago that he is not here, and I am doing the introduction today. So that is why I'm reading from my laptop. I apologize. Normally I would be much more prepared. So I'm going to introduce Henrietta Pepper. Henrietta's educational background includes dual bachelor's degrees from University of Kentucky and a master's degree from University of Kentucky, but she did go to U of L for her executive MBA, so we won't hold that against her. A lifelong learner, she's earned accreditation from several leadership training management programs, including Harvard University. She currently teaches graduate and undergraduate courses at the University of Louisville College of Business.
So no pressure, I have my boss here today.
Yeah, that's right. After years of working in several advertising and marketing agencies, she established and operated a successful brand communications firm for 14 years. While continuing her work as a branding and marketing strategist, she sold her business and just recently, I think, 4 years ago?
2018,
so right before the pandemic. Started a writing career, and by the way, her books are back on that table if anybody's interested. She is now expanding her storytelling platform to include speaking engagements, uplifting social media content, and other creative means of written expression. Henrietta was born in Nashville, Tennessee, and raised in Western Kentucky, and resides here with her husband of 30 plus years. She's the proud mother of 3 children, step-parent of 4, and grandmother of many grandchildren, with more on the way. So,
yes.
All right, so welcome, Henrietta. I'm going to
Thank you.
And while I'm getting her set up, I just wanted to, and if you didn't get a folder, they're back there. Okay. Make sure you have a folder. The tool is in the folder. The PowerPoint slides are in the folder.
Yeah, and so while she's setting up, be sure to jot down some notes perhaps as I'm going through the intro, because I think that will help us be more productive when we get to the exercise. So just jot down thoughts, and I want to make this super interactive. I was telling somebody, I love the more intimate environments where we can actually have conversation and feed off each other. So I want it to be casual and interactive. Ryan likes to start these off with making sure that everybody walks out of here with some value. And so my goal is for you to take away not only this amazing tool to reflect on, but I would like for you to take away an emotion. And I know that's a little different, but I think after COVID, which was really kind of the inspiration for me writing this book on personal branding and creating these tools or adapting these tools, is around this idea of reflection. And I think everybody in this room has kind of taken a pause after the ordeal of COVID and said, how do I really want to spend my time? What is my work-life balance? Am I really getting quality of life out of my profession and how I'm spending my valuable time? Am I really present in my daily work? Am I really present in the quality of work that I'm putting out there? And am I really present with my family and friends and social networks? So that was really the genesis of me sitting down and kind of journaling my own pathway to what my brand is or was, and how can I strengthen that brand? Do I even have a brand? And I think we'll see in this intro, we all have brands whether we like it or not, right? Right? So you've got a badge on you that you've probably allowed other people to put on you. So this idea, this emotion is to get you excited about going down the pathway of either rediscovery, or maybe this is the first time you've even thought about having a personal brand. But like I said, the power of owning that brand and expressing that brand in a great way is going to really empower you. So I encourage you to start the journey if you haven't already. All right, Rainey, is this the clicker?
Oh, you know what?
The doohickey, yeah.
How about I just click?
Okay,
Does that work?
yeah.
Okay.
We're going to clip through this pretty quickly for the sake of time, because again, I want you all to have a little bit of time to play around with the exercise at the end. I've already talked about this. I do have some books in the back. It's an easy read, and the value, again, that I wanted to provide for readers is you will have a whole digital resource at no extra cost to go into tools like this Ikigai. That was my intent, is to provide that reader on the holistic journey. So you'll have 15 to 20 different digital tools that you can go through on your own with your teams, with your family. So you have a whole toolbox to go through the personal branding journey. You can come. So what is personal branding? I mean, at its simplest of terms, it's an expression. It's your body language, it's your narrative, it's not an elevator speech. It's how you are expressing yourself in your true identity. A lot of people are a little bit uncomfortable with the concept personal brand. It's like, I don't want to be that person who walks in the room and feels like they're boasting about themselves or trying to sell themselves. No, it's not about that. It's about celebrating who you are at your core and expressing that effectively. So again, I love what Jeff Bezos said. Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room, right? So again, I think this just punctuates the fact that we all have a brand, but don't let people label us. Let's own it. So give this some thought. Where are you on this map? Are you in a place where you feel like your brand has lost its relevancy a little bit? Maybe COVID switched some things up. Maybe you're going through a life transition in some fashion and you need to kind of rediscover that brand. Maybe you feel like you're just a little too robotic. Like, I've got my elevator speech down and people think of me this way, but they really don't know all the dimensions of my brand. So maybe you just feel like you need to get out of your comfort zone. Maybe you feel like you've never really gone down this journey at all. I've never really thought about a personal brand. Maybe you have built some assets over time. Maybe you've acquired some new skill sets. Maybe you're taking a new job. Maybe you've moved to a new position within your company. But those assets aren't laddering up in a solid way. You've got a big toolbox of stuff, but you haven't consolidated them into a solid personal brand. And maybe you just need to start at ground zero. Maybe you haven't even thought about this, and that's perfectly okay. The normal human being probably doesn't wake up every day and think about their personal brand. That's completely fine. So maybe you're starting at ground zero. So a lot of people say, well, gosh, I'm so busy. I don't have time to think about this stuff. Make the time, just like you make time to just relax, and don't make it hard on yourself. That's what I love about this notion of personal branding. You can take it at a linear pace. You can go from A to Z and everything in between. So you don't have to map out, I'm going to spend 5 hours this week. You can go revisit it on vacation. You can take some time and spend a weekend and then not touch it again for maybe 3 or 4 weeks. That's perfectly fine. So don't think of it as a step 1, 2, 3, 4. Think of it as, here are the tools, I can go at it at what I'm feeling today. So in the book, I've done kind of can you go back one?
Yeah.
To get you in the right mindset, we go in and talk about set up your mindset, get your headspace in the right place, and there's some ways to do that. Everything from meditation to just reflection to writing down some things. Then you get into everybody has their core values and what your real purpose, your why. Building around what really makes you, what's the heart and soul of your brand, kind of that brand essence and discovery of that, and then your identity. And again, your identity is not just the clothes you wear and the face you put on every day. It's what are you expressing from your inner self. And then it's about showing up, sharing, and sustaining the brand. So again, that journey is chock full of information and reflection and tools to get you there. But it is a process, but like I said, you can jump around in that process depending on what you're feeling that day and what you really want to take on. But I think the main point of this slide is everybody in this room is going through some sort of transition in their life, whether it's personal, professional, some other thing that everybody's going through, and that's life. We're going through this transition. So one of the main values that you get by solidifying that personal brand, no matter what transition you happen to be going through, that brand is going to keep you solid. The brand should not be a chameleon. The brand's going to keep you solid and being true to yourself, and therefore you're going to be a lot more satisfied with the outcomes and satisfied with your personal self, right? So that brand gives you not only some confidence, it's going to give you some satisfaction. So today, we're going to really focus on that branding element number 1, the purpose. And that's what Ikigai is all about. Who's heard of Ikigai? Anybody? Oh, great. What do you think of it when you think of Ikigai?
Just trying to figure out who you are.
Yeah.
At the core.
At the core.
Yes.
At the core.
Yes.
So I love this. It's kind of this intersection or convergence of answering these 4 main questions, if you will. What do you love to do? Kind of what's your passion? What are you good at? What skills do you have? What are things that you've had experience at? What are you good at? What can you be paid for? How can you monetize it? And then what the world needs. The world needs us all. What impact can we make on the world? So you see the elements up there. So it's passion, mission, profession, vocation. In the outer rings, what you love, what the world needs, what you can get paid for, and what you're good at. So by going through this exercise, you can start to cull down all of these elements and come up with that core essence, the core why, the Ikigai. I'm going to try to do this, Rami. Do you want to? This is just a short anime, and by the way, you're going to get this PowerPoint afterwards, so if you want to share this with others, feel free to do this. I felt like this animated, it's 5 minutes, really gives you a good idea how to go about the exercise and just a good overview of what Ikigai is all about. Oh, it's not playing.
On the computer.
Oh, it's okay. We'll skip it. We'll skip it, and we can maybe look at it in a minute.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Now the PowerPoint. I'll be right back. PowerPoint.
Any questions? Any thoughts? Is it scary to you? No? Exciting, right? How many people have thought about their personal brand before? Really? Yeah. So, Olivia, right? So, are you comfortable with it? Are you feeling uneasy about it, or are you?
I always feel, so I have the personality where I don't like to be boxed in, and so
Yeah.
this is intimidating to me. And I've done it, I mean, I'm a speaker, I have
Yeah.
my own brand, and it's something I've cultivated a lot of, but even having done it,
Yeah.
it is honestly a little terrifying to me. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's like, oh shoot, I have to be one thing, and it's not necessarily true, but yeah. So these make my palms sweat a little bit.
Yeah, and don't, I encourage everybody to not feel that you're gonna be boxed in.
Yep.
Because you can express this Ikigai in a lot of different ways, right? But it just helps you keep grounded a little bit, and it's more about building the confidence and building the strength that you have, and then allowing you to express that out. It's not about boxing you in to be one-dimensional.
Yeah.
It really keeps you true to what you are passionate about and what you are good at, and kind of compiles all that into one
And that's
thing.
what I always end up needing, is something to ground me.
Yeah,
But it's the scariness of it's that thought, like what you're saying. It's not really boxing you in, but it's like, oh, I have to like be this. I have to decide.
if there is a level, and I talk about that in the book, there is a level of accountability though, folks. The temptation is to walk in and you feel compelled, or you feel like you need to morph into what that group is wanting you to be, right? I think I fall into that category because I'm a little bit of a pleaser sometimes. And so I have to hold myself accountable to say, I can still do this job, or I can still make this relationship work, but I'm not going to change myself up to the point where I'm not being true to myself. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I think there is a little bit of accountability there. Okay. So a great book here if you're really into this stuff, Ikigai. There's been a lot of research on it, but again, it's more the emotion that you get out of this exercise, the emotional empowerment that you get, that really is what makes this whole Ikigai tick. So it's more of a feeling. So back to Olivia, it's more about feeling the freedom and change and growth, and this sense of purpose is really what this whole tool does for you. So we're going to go through and work through the exercise, but I wanted to give you an example. All right, this is a fictitious example. This is Ellen, and Ellen is all about, what does she love? She loves giving back. She's a very altruistic person. She loves paying it forward. She loves pioneering new things, a little bit of an entrepreneurial spirit. She likes to travel. She likes to explore new cultures. So those are kind of her passion pillars, if you will. What's she good at? She's a really good listener. She can identify with people's emotional mindsets. She meets people where they are in life. She likes to solve problems, and she thinks she's a pretty good communicator. So that's what she feels she's really good at. We'll get to the other two in a minute. What can she be paid for? How can she translate those skill sets and those passions into something that she could be paid for? She could be a counselor. She could take those skills into social problem resolutions, be a community builder. Perhaps it's a professional in the guidance counseling role. So then you start to dig into the passions, right? So what is she really passionate about? It's empowering individuals to find their inner strengths. And she loves uniting people for a common cause. Mission, she loves serving others. We all have a mission in our mind. Some people might call it your why. Others might just call it their personal mission statement. And hers is all about serving others for the betterment of the entire community. So she's very community-centric type of person. Profession, again, how can she monetize that and how make it a profession? Maybe a social worker, a community builder, an advocate. Maybe she works for the nonprofit community because she has that servant leadership mindset. So taking all that, I'll need your help here. How can she compile all of that into something that the world needs? What's something that the world needs and an impact that she could have when she compiles all of that into one? How can she make an impact on the world? Belinda.
Well, what I thought of immediately was maybe something with the environment.
Ah, yeah. She likes to travel, the cultures. She likes the bringing people together.
Explore all those, and she's entrepreneurial, so she can really help identify where's that one thing that I can make an impact.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's environment or it's, you know, certain people or it's families or it's whatever, you have to kind of hone in a little bit, right?
Yeah. Find a lane.
Identify.
Doesn't mean you
Yeah.
can't go down the lane with
roads,
some.
right?
Yeah.
It can merge onto other lanes. And you can do a U-turn and do something else.
Yeah.
Whatever, but
Adria, what do you think?
Oh, I was thinking something about advocacy.
Ooh, I like that.
And that's the big thing for me, and just
Advocacy.
everything that's represented here. But I agree, like specifically to what.
Well, I love that because she says she likes to bring people together, but she feels she has a really good communication skills, right? So we all have things we need to work on. Were you
I was just gonna add immediately, when I'm thinking about the entrepreneurial spirit and empowering other people to find their inner strengths and bringing people together, like a nonprofit CEO.
Yeah.
Or mission work.
Yeah.
Or something like that, something where she's able to rally people.
Correct.
For a good cause.
Yeah. Michelle, you said,
Yeah, I was thinking of, building on what Olivia said, like a helping hands ministry that takes a group of people to Nicaragua or, something like that.
yeah. So you kind of have to have that, again, that's where the passions come in, and that's where the skill sets and passions intersect. So for that kind of role, you have to almost have a calling perhaps, and maybe she's seeing that calling because she's got that community-centric mindset, that social work kind of mindset. So I love that. Anybody else have a comment on that?
I keep thinking like a uniter, somebody who
Yeah.
brings opposing groups together. I
Yeah.
don't know why that keeps coming up.
Yeah.
But we're so conflicted right now in society.
Yeah.
I don't know what goal that is, but to bring people together.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So any questions on that? All right, so let's just go at it. If you did download the exercise, and again, all these exercises throughout the book are digital for a purpose, so that they constantly are evolved. You can constantly revisit them and change them and evolve them. They're meant to be living, breathing exercises and not something that you print out and hang on your wall. They're meant to be fluid, a little bit fluid, and again, back to that accountability piece. Am I really doing what I intended to do? Am I really expressing these things the way I intended? So again, that gets back to holding yourself a little bit accountable. So we'll take a few minutes just to do this on a personal level, and then we'll come back and talk about it if you guys are willing to do that. Feel free to reach out if you're struggling. Talk to each other too. You feel like you're Ellen? Okay, no, you can't copy that. No stealing Ellen, Raimi.
I'm going to be Ellen today.
By the way, Jeff apologizes. He had to leave early for another appointment, but it was great having him here. Yeah, no pressure, Raimi. You didn't tell me my boss was going to be here.
Sorry. You never know. It's usually just a pop in and pop out.
But he got up and left early, so.
Yeah. While y'all are doing that, what the little 5-minute animated piece that we couldn't pull up yet, but when you see it, Ikigai is actually hundreds of years old. It's a methodology that originated with the Japanese culture. And so this is not a newfangled exercise. This has been going on for literally hundreds of years in some iteration. So when I was doing my research,
While you're, could you put it back to the other one? I'm just
Yeah.
having a hard time differentiating with what do you love and what you're passionate
Yeah,
about.
I was wondering about that too, the difference between what you love and your passion.
I think of it more what you love would be like, what do I love to do? What do I love to do?
Right.
Versus a passion might be, I have a passion for kids. I have a passion for animals.
Okay.
Passion is like peeling the onion back.
Yeah.
Passion is like the bigger category.
That's why it's in the
Love is
inner.
more like the action.
This
part
is
of it.
the orange here are more the inner things, and then this is how they come together.
Oh, got it.
So
Okay.
mission, vocation, what the world needs, passion, profession, what you're good at.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
that makes sense.
Would you suggest answering the yellow, like outermost first, and then working your way in?
No, I would work your way out,
Okay.
and then ultimately you're going to get to that Ikigai.
Okay.
Wait, start from the inside and go out, or the outside go in?
It inside goes out, because
Okay.
you see how these two culminate into
Yeah.
that.
Oh, gotcha.
These two culminate into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
So back to so back to Ellen. If you think about vocation for her, vocation could be something like mentoring, advising. Maybe it's something in cause marketing. Maybe it's social work of some facet. That would be considered her vocation. Whereas the profession takes those vocation attributes and translates them to actual professional careers, right? So the mentoring could translate into a community builder. The cause marketing could translate into that community builder. So think of vocation as kind of those attributes or those skill sets, mentoring the doer, the things, and then the profession is more, how does that translate into a job position, right? That would be the profession. And by the way, there's not a secret sauce that comes out of this thing. So the actual inner circle, Ikigai, it's not like you're going to come up with this profound statement that says, rah, and shout it from the mountaintop. It's much more about doing and reflecting on the exercise itself and identifying these boxes. It's not about coming up with the right answer here. It's much more about the methodology itself. What I think is most interesting is I think people kind of compartmentalize. I'm really passionate about this, but I'm not really good at this. So I feel like people go into this with the mindset of I've got to pick a passion or I've got to pick something I've got the skill set for. I don't have the ability to do both. And I think this is where the value of this, you can do both.
Right, that's right.
Yeah.
Conflict.
Yeah.
It's like right now, I'm good at that, but I want to do this.
Yeah.
But I don't know
This,
if I'm good at
we're
that.
trying to eliminate the buts
Yeah.
here. We're trying to eliminate the buts because
Right.
you can do both if you're strategic about it. So, for example, I love kids, obviously, I have a ton of them. I have a ton of grandkids, but I just have always loved children in my life. And I don't really have professional skill sets to, what am I going to say? I don't have an educational background per se in terms of dealing with childcare and at that 2 to 3 year old level. Those are the ones I really love. So how I've translated that passion into profession is I'm getting into my church ministries. I'm getting some training on it from my church. And so I feel like I'm building my skill set, I'm building my vocational skills to then maybe eventually being able to translate that into some sort of profession. Maybe I start a nursery school, maybe I start some sort of children's music program. I'm also very passionate about music. So those are examples. You don't have to be good at the stuff right now. Knowing what you need to improve and knowing how you need to sharpen your skill sets is a good thing. So if you're really passionate about something but you don't feel like you got the skill set, then this is a key indicator. I need to build that up. If I'm super passionate about it and I want that to translate into some sort of profession, I need to get to work, right? Anybody struggling with a particular area I can help with? The whole thing. Is it just overwhelming, or you're struggling with like putting words down, or?
I'm one of these people who hates when you ask me what I like to do or what my hobbies are. Mainly probably because I have a family.
Yeah.
So I was just writing down here, and I wondered if I put like my family and my job so far in front of me that I've lost a lot of myself. Right?
Don't feel guilty. I think everybody in this room can identify with that.
Really well, by the way. You expressed that really well.
I don't know what my passion is because I haven't ever thought about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Listen.
Can we just put a big question?
Well, you have to dig deep. You have to dig deep. I'll tell you what, a little personal story. So when I started the research on the book, I thought for sure there would be a ton of material out there on this subject. Like, I'm sure there's tons of books and things on how to find yourself, and not necessarily in a life coach type of way, but in a branding way. There's not a lot out there. There's not. And so that was a key indicator to me that people are clamoring for this, but they don't have time to really sit down and think about it, and they don't have methodologies to go about it. It's hard. It's hard.
So your book has different exercises.
Yeah. To get to all this. But it's not as simple as people think, because if you're sitting out there on your patio trying to think about this stuff, it's tough. But I've not really thought about that, but I think we do prioritize, or we have that mindset that just comes organically, and we have a little bit of guilt about being self-serving when we do take the time to think about it.
Yeah. It's funny, it's like when you're young and you have less responsibilities, it's probably when you feel most yourself, but you're probably least equipped to actually be productive.
Put it to work. To put it to work, right? You're just living by the day, and you don't have those responsibilities. Yeah. We're talking over here about the struggles of trying to really think about what you're passionate about. She was saying, I don't know. I haven't really taken the time to think about what is my passions. I've kind of gotten robotic about it. Anybody else struggling there?
Yeah.
Oh, you know that piece. Do you have any other struggles?
I was struggling with vocation, but they helped me.
Okay.
They weren't even helping today.
Yeah.
I feel like my passion is.
Oh, they do. Yeah.
This was kind
Interested
of
in
difficult for
kind
me
of
to
from
stay. Normally,
we were
I feel like
talking
I'm
about coaching issues.
this or that, you
Yeah.
know? So, mine are more fluid. Or maybe.
Yeah. I think with COVID, at least for me,
Questions are really.
it gave me time to think about my next chapter, and by thinking about the next chapter, I'm like, well, what do I really want to do? Like, what is my passion? This time around, I'm gonna really dig deeper into my passion and my skill set. I can have both, but I was always before driven by my skill set. I love what I do. So I was feeding my passion. But this time, I said, I'm gonna really do it. So I got into writing books. Yeah. And I'm like, I've never written books. I don't know how to go about that. So I had to learn. I had to get some new competencies. But this time around, this time around, I said, I'm going to let the passions lead.
So, question.
Yeah.
So like once you fill this out.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, so I fill this out and like I want to sort of crystallize my, like, let's say somebody's filling out a LinkedIn, you know, how they have a thing.
It's so funny you said that. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
How do
like-
you take this and
Right, like how do you recommend that somebody like
Yes.
crystallize once they've done this into like, this is,
me.
let's just say with a professional
this is me,
lens. Let's
yes.
just use the professional.
Yeah.
Like, how do you recommend they sort of try to crystallize?
So I promise you, I'm not trying to sell the book. I'm just the elements in the walk you through that. So, as the little chart said, you know that now you need to couple this with what are your values set. You need to identify the values because at our heart and soul, that's what's going to lead. People take action based on their values. So you're wanting to know, how do I actualize that? How do I put this into action? So there's some steps that you need to go through. This isn't the magic bullet.
This is like first step.
This is part of the first step.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to buy it.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about that. But that's the whole idea. It's not one thing is going to give you the answer. You've got to surround it with a lot of other things that are innate. Absolutely.
You gotta be grounded in the purpose.
But-
And that will, the other things will be
Yes.
flow from that.
Right. And so back to you ask how do you crystallize it?
Yeah, exactly.
So this is, you've got discovery of kind of your heart and soul, is brand essence, like how do you
What are you about?
visually about how are you different and being able to say that with confidence but not with arrogance. How do I differentiate myself from Olivia? We still complement, we still have value, each a little bit different. And then you ask about how do I crystallize that? What's my brand? What's my voice? You hear about that, right? Your brand voice. Am I funny? Do I enter the room with a sense of confidence, or am I more comfortable with a sense of, I'm a more people person, I'm a relationship person, or do I like to be perceived as a more academic person? And there's nothing wrong, but what's your voice? How do I express myself? And then you ask about narrative. So I give you some actual tools to build out that narrative. And again, it's more fluid than an elevator speech. We're just talking about ways to express your brand, body language, key phrases, things like that. So it's not a speech. It's not a rehearsed elevator thing. You got to know your audience and then how to go about expressing that. And then the coolest thing I think in the book is you give yourself a scorecard. And how am I doing on these different measures? And revisiting that scorecard and say, what do I need to improve on? I'm doing a great job with my team. and I'm really expressing my brand, and I'm getting that out there, but I'm kind of sucking at differentiating myself. You know, I'm just becoming a cookie cutter. So it holds you accountable.
Kind of a SWOT analysis is embedded in there, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities.
There's not that, but it's taking the principles of a SWOT, and I call it the think, feel, do. So I developed that tool from scratch, but it's kind of the same premise of SWOT. SWOT, yeah.
We're just drilling you with questions.
No, that's what we're here for.
So, how would you recommend, as somebody that I am such a visionary kind of thinker,
Yeah.
that grounding me can be tough.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's sort of, that's just how I'm
Yeah.
built, and I have to really surround myself with people that can help me do this.
And that's why sorry to interrupt you, but that's why that's why I really encourage in the book that you go through this exercise, not in a silo, that you surround yourself with your closest colleagues, but people who are going to hold you and be candid with you.
Well, so that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So how would you recommend week in and week out, day in and day out, checking in on this? But I'm a solo, I work by myself,
Yeah.
I have no team, it's just me.
Yeah.
So outside of my husband holding me accountable, my best friend, you mentioned that checklist, is that one of those things that you're, okay, every Friday, how would you?
I do it once a month.
Okay.
I do it once a month on my performance scorecard. I encourage people to form what I call a personal board. I don't know if you've heard that concept before, but actually establish your own personal board, if you will, of directors, and say, I'm going to check in with you once a quarter, and I'm going to do my own kind of check-in on how I think I'm doing, but I want you all to hold me accountable and say how you think I'm doing. And am I being true to myself? Am I doing all these things?
People that really know you.
Yeah, yeah. But I would do varying degrees. Maybe some people that you've just started getting acquainted with, kind of, it's fresh.
They still know your brand, they know you.
Yeah, or they think they know you, right? They think you know you. So I really like bringing in folks who don't deal with me on the daily, or they might deal with me on a whole different dimension than my friend at church versus my friend at work versus my boss. You know, right? So it's a whole different dynamic when you put all of those people together that see you in different venues and different lights.
It's like your own little performance review.
Yeah. And it works. I mean, it works for me. It works for me because I tend to be harder on myself. You know, I tend to be harder on myself than's really deserved. And yet, you get a little one-dimensional, right? So they see things in you that you might not recognize right away. Okay, so we've got a little bit of time. Does anybody feel compelled to share their work to date? All right. Sorry. Belinda, would you be willing to share your work? We've got a couple minutes, and we have Belinda who's willing to share a little bit about her work. I hope a couple others will. So again, there's no right or wrong here. Don't get frustrated. This is work in progress. It took me about a week to get this really where I felt good about it. And I'm still, it's a living, breathing thing. So it's going to evolve as things happen because you're going to go through these transitions, like I said. So don't look at it as something you're going to put away and store away and look at next year. You need to be looking at all these tools I told her, I'll look at these things about once a month now that I've got my toolbox built. Okay, Belinda.
And it shifts.
Yes.
But like you said earlier, understanding your core values really brings a lot to this as well. Yeah. Because that's going to pretty much stay.
That's
This
right.
stuff can like kind of shows.
What were you saying in the critical thinking? You
Well,
said
purpose drives the process.
purpose drives the process. So knowing all of this in the step-in process, you're surrounding this Ikigai with your value set, kind of your heart and soul, and how you express yourself in the identity piece. So yeah, this isn't the be-all tell-all. You're exactly right.
So I have an example of passion. So I always think of passion as, what's that thing, the first thing you think of when you wake up or before you go to bed at night? What did I miss out on today that I should have done? Or what's that thing you think about when you're doing other things? Like right now, I want to be outside. I see these trees, and like I just want to go walk that trail that they have out there all around. So
Yeah.
that's my passion, is like being with nature and being active and going out there. And that's how you can identify your passion. Because when you're doing something else, what are you distracted by? Like, what would you rather be doing? You know. So anyway. I mean, I have several passions, but I guess mainly like being adventurous, but really from a professional standpoint, it's inspiring others. And so I've always said which drives your mission, right? So I've always said my mission is to support the success of others. And that's really, it's either by example or coaching or whatever that could be. That's really what drives what I love to do, and by me doing a lot of other things puts me in different pockets and availability to different kinds of people.
Yeah.
And inspiring even more.
And I work with Belinda on several of her endeavors, and you're exactly. She does a great job. She does a great job of combining that passion and skill sets and being creative in ways that she can do both. And you do a great job. And you do a great job of how to monetize it. And you shouldn't feel guilty about monetizing what you're passionate about. I mean, that's a great thing. You're not feeding off people. You're feeding your passion and helping people. So don't feel like that's a bad thing. Okay, you said you were struggling, but are you willing to share any of it?
All right, what's the question? Again, I said I hate when people ask me what I like to do. What do I love? I love doing things. Like
You're a doer.
I'm a doer. I like to be places.
Yeah.
And it could be anything from music to kayaking to whatever.
You like activities.
I like, yeah.
Yeah, you're not a couch potato.
I am not, despite, some jokes we made about behalf. I like making people laugh. I like connecting people. I like experiencing
that's
things. Good. And I like exploring new ideas. I think for me, my mission, so like my passion was, I had the question about the passion, and then helping others, connecting others. My passion, I love what you said about, it's what I think about when I'm doing other things, and often I have like music on in the background, and I find myself reliving some concert or something. But so my mission, I thought, has always been, to bring people together to inspire meaningful win-win relationships.
Love it.
I think where I struggled was on what the world needs, because I was kind of looking at it from like an altruistic point of view. Is like we all need a little humility, perspective, purpose. I think we're missing.
And I think we all need humor.
Humor, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Sounds like you can. If you love the bringing people together, maybe you could do some sort of facilitation role as a profession. I mean, if you've got humor, you've got good communication skills, somehow you could bring some music into that. Music always brings people together. So I could see you I know you a little bit personally, so I could see you really being an effective facilitator, whether that's solving problems or a topic that you could communicate and let people talk about. That if you've got all that passion and skill set mixed together, I could see you taking that role. So Yeah. Anybody over here willing to share? Yeah.
I'll share a little bit. I don't really know which one to share, but I'm open to sharing. So I guess, do we just walk through it?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do I love? I went really basic, like what do I enjoy? I think that's probably what you're supposed to do, but I love painting. I'm a painter.
Oh, good for you.
I like running and gardening. I'm always, that may be more of a passion. I check my garden like 6 times a day. I love it so much. I'm passionate about uniting people and creating balance, helping create balance for them, seeing good, healthy work environments because of my experience not having that. So I'm passionate about seeing people experience that. When you said outdoors, I was like, yeah, I've been thinking about that space since I walked in. Yes. No, I was like, same. We should go hike after that.
There you
No,
go.
yeah, I like that. What am I good at? I'm pretty good at motivating other people, allowing others to feel like they have space to be heard and loved, and putting ideas together. I like helping people unite as a team. Profession, I put what I do now because I feel like I'm lucky and I get to kind of live in this right now. So I'm a speaker and I'm a coach, and that allows me to kind of exercise those pieces. Mission, for me, it's ultimately it's a spiritual thing for me. So for me, I put being in church, for me personally, and then loving people right where they are, encouraging people. What the world needs, I put realness. They just need people to be real.
Isn't that the truth?
Like you just need to just, gosh.
Yeah.
I'm only 31, but I've seen so much. And I'm just realness, people that I put someone to bridge the gap between just like
Yeah.
living and then just living. And so, just real.
So fresh.
And then vocation, we had a big conversation about this at our table. So what I landed on was motivator, loving people, and bringing light. So light. And then what can you be paid for? So I put helping other people do all of those things. So speaking, helping them, and coaching, and that sort of thing. So.
Yeah, really good. You should write a book. That's very good reflection for a short amount of time. You mentioned something that I think we all, again, coming out of this COVID kind of siloed environment, now that we're out in the real world again, I think whenever we're accomplishing things, we tend to feel a little guilty, maybe. And I don't know if y'all have heard of the concept imposter syndrome. Okay, I talk about that a little bit in the book. I'm a poster child for that. I'm a poster child. Like, only once I turned 60 did I say, I've done a lot of cool stuff, and I am not going to apologize for it. I'm not going to feel guilty for it. I'm going to celebrate it and share and hopefully help others get to where their sweet spot is, right? So how many people have had that imposter, like, yeah. So again, don't be apologetic about feeding your passion and feeding what you're good at. So thank you for bringing that up. Like, no reason to feel guilty, right?
Yeah. Bringing it up, but you're welcome.
Yeah. Well, you said you maybe felt a little guilty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're fulfilled. How about one of you? Are you willing to share just a part of it?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, goodness.
Just something you feel pretty good about.
The what?
That you feel good about, that
Sure.
you've identified.
I've done a lot of work on this for the last couple of years. But
Good for you.
I feel like, she said, why do you have stuff in every box? It's all kind of like flowing in and out of all the boxes. What are you good at? I'm good at building relationships, following up, keeping connections. I love flowers, the details, and lifting others up. So this is where my box is kind of a mishmash. My passion is keeping people connected, bringing a smile to people, flowers. So, flowers has always been in the back of my mind for a million years, and I finally started a side business last year because if I'm going to be doing flowers for the last 25 years, I might as well like make it an actual.
Good for
business.
you. That's so exciting.
And then life got so busy that I haven't been able to work on the flower business. So I don't know how entrepreneurs do it with holding down a full-time job. But yeah, what the world needs, keeping our hearts light.
More
being
flowers.
More flowers. More flowers.
Yeah, a community of support and friendship, a sense of belonging. So I don't know, I'm all over them.
No, it's,
But they all tie together.
you know how they're all hanging together.
Yeah.
They're all hanging together. And like I said, you don't have to like come up with the secret sauce, the magic bullet. It is about that fluidity and hanging them all together. Are you willing to share maybe a couple of the circles?
Yes.
Or something that maybe surprised you a little bit?
Well, I had teaching and facilitating others' goals, and then I went back and felt for the what you're good at, numbers, statistics, analysis, research, which don't exactly fit in with all the rest.
Well, you're left brain, right brain, and that's good. Like they're balancing each other out. That's good.
And then I realized learning, and I'm a thinker, so I love the doer folks, and so it was fun just
Yeah.
to see how there's themes.
And it's okay to be a little bit conflicted, you know?
Yeah.
Like some days I've got my creative spark on and I can't wait to, put some journaling in or something. Other days I'm like, I've got to solve this problem. It's driving me crazy. I've got to find the answer. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with that balance. I love the fact that you say, hey, I'm analytical and I love data and I love numbers, but I'm super, creative too. Or I'm a thinker. I think we're right at 9.
We are at 9.
So
If I could just really quickly, did you want to say something?
No, I
Okay.
like this.
Yeah, no, well, we're definitely going to clap.
thank you all for being so
If you
engaged.
liked what you saw today or heard today, we do this once a month, the third Tuesday of every month. You can find out about it on our website, which is positiveleadership.louisville.edu. But Anne is our next, Anne right here. It's in your folder. She's our next speaker, and she's doing, she's demonstrating
One
for.
little part of this model, which is at the very bottom with the accountability.
Accountability piece, yeah. So
Part
she's,
of accountability.
and then we have Meg Hancock, who's a professor over in the College of Education, and she's doing a whole talk on leadership as a marathon. So,
I
yeah.
love that.
Yeah, so thank you. If you have any questions, we'll stick around and just appreciate you.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
If you, yeah. You are welcome to purchase the book. I can take Venmo or cash or a check today. If you would like to just buy it straight off Amazon, you can do that. You can go to my website, henriettapepper.com, and purchase the book there. It takes you right to Amazon. So, but if you want to buy one here today, I can take it via Venmo, cash, or check. Thank you all so much for being so engaged. I'd love to stay connected with you guys as you go through your journey. So connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'd love to keep the conversation going. It's been fun. You've been a great audience and so engaged. So good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good luck.